Hello, I'm Evgenii Kovrigin, an NMR director at the University of Notre Dame. In this episode, we will load an NMR spectrum, and I will show you different ways to navigate around it with zooming actions. There are two ways to load the NMR data. If you have a small project with just a few datasets, it's easier to drag and drop your datasets straight into the window of MNova. If your project is large, I suggest using a data browser. Please see Tricks episode to learn about the data browser. My favorite is still a drag and drop method. First, I make a new page for my NMR spectrum. Right-click in the Pages area, choose Create New Page or hit Command M. Next, I grab a numbered folder from the TopSpin dataset called EXPNO in Bruker TopSpin language and drop it into this new page. MNova automatically processes spectral data and displays the result. The top left corner of the spectral page contains the dataset name, including the experiment folder and the numbered subfolder, which is EXPNO for Bruker data. If the experiment had a title tab in TopSpin entered upon data acquisition, it will also be shown below the dataset name. You may edit this title. First, click on a spectrum to make sure it is selected. Notice the green dots. Click the View tab, check the parameters, and double-click the comment field. Type whatever you need, hit enter, and the new text is displayed. The size of the title text may be adjusted as needed. Right-click the spectrum, select Properties, click Font, select Font, select the typeface, size, click OK, and OK. I also like to have a general title for the page regarding what it is showing. I click the spectrum, drag the lower green square down, switch to a text tool, Home tab, symbol T, drag the box across the screen, set the type size to 24. Now I will type a name of this page. I like to use the type big enough so I can read the page name in the Pages section. This way, when I scroll the Pages window, I can easily find the necessary page. Remember to frequently save your work. File save or just hit Command S. To add more spectra, make additional page and drag another dataset into that page. You can have unlimited number of spectra in the document. A mouse wheel controls vertical scale of the spectrum. If I hold Command button on Mac or Control on Windows, the zoom action becomes slower, it is more fine-tuned. If you hit H, you will reset vertical scale to the tallest peak. Hit Z, and you will enter a dedicated zooming mode of the mouse pointer. The horizontal red interval means we are ready to zoom along the chemical shift axis. Let's zoom in this group of small peaks. If I hit H now, the spectrum is scaled to the tallest visible peak. If I hit Z second time, the interval changes to vertical and I will be able to zoom along intensity axis. The third Z switches the mouse pointer to zooming both ways, to a rectangular area of the spectrum. You may drag the axis with the mouse to shift the visible window. The same action. Hit P and you can grab a spectrum and drag it sideways. Hit F to rescale both axes to the full range. To undo the zooming actions one by one, I hold Shift and hit left arrow multiple times. Press Shift and hit right arrow to redo the zooming steps.
To quit zoom mode or any other mode in MNova, hit Escape button.
Continuing with zoom, you may also zoom out in all three ways. For example, let me zoom into a rectangle. Hit Z 3 times and drag. Now I will hold Shift and hit Z 1 time. I get a horizontal zoom out tool. Click and see how X-axis contracts. Hold Shift and hit Z second time. Now Y-axis will be unzooming. Click and see how Y-axis contracts. Hit Shift Z the third time and you will be unzooming in both dimensions simultaneously. An interesting observation. In this unzooming mode, you still can click and drag and you will be zooming in. You don't see the zooming rectangle, but it still works for navigation. Click to unzoom, drag to zoom back in. In a summary, in this episode, I covered how to load NMR data. I suggest you update the spectrum comment field and adjust its font size for display with the data. I also suggest you add a title to the page itself to be able to find it easier in the page's view of the document. I urge you to save your work frequently. Use Command S on Mac or Ctrl S on Windows. In the second part of the episode, we talked about zoom tools. You zoom intensity in the spectrum with the mouse wheel, you use zoom with Z, unzoom with the Shift Z, repeat switches the zooming direction. You scale up with H and get the full spectrum with F, you pan with P. You also may navigate the spectrum in the unzooming mode. You click to zoom out and drag a box to zoom back in.
Hit Escape on a keyboard to exit a zoom mode or any other tool.